Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Monday and welcome to this week's video about the goddess Arianrhod. We're going to talk about her complicated motherhood. And we will begin with a very pagan virgin birth. In the stories, Arianrhod had an uncle called Maths. When he wasn't away at war, he had to keep his feet in the lap of a virgin. And no, I have not discovered why this was. If you know, please tell me because I'm very curious. Anyway, while he was off on one of his battles, the virgin who did have the job to keep his feet in her lap, she was raped, unfortunately, and so she had to be replaced. Gwydion, who is the brother of Arianrhod, suggests his sister for the job. Now says that it's necessary to test her purity, and told her to step over his magician's rod. She does, and lo and behold, she suddenly blooms up and spontaneously gives birth to twins. The first is a sea spirit who's called Dylan, and he immediately flees into the ocean. And the second is described as a formless blob, and it's only his uncle Gwydion who notices him, and Gwydion then puts him in a chest for 4 years because I guess that made sense to him. Anyway, Arianrhod was horrified, bewildered, and ashamed of what had taken place, despite the whole affair being as much a surprise to her as anybody else, and she does run away. And this brings us to the fate of the blob. 4 years go by, and then Gwydion takes the blob to Arianrhod. She's still very much hurt. She rejects the child completely, wants nothing to do with him. She won't even acknowledge him, and she actually puts 3 curses on him. He will never be allowed a name. He will never be allowed to carry arms. He will not be allowed to marry any woman on earth. So it fell to Gwydion to find some rather creative workarounds these particular curses, and eventually all the curses were broken. Blob became Lulaw gifts. Gwydion conjured a fleet of warships, and then Arianrhod gave weapons to all of her guests, and this of course included her son, and so then he was allowed to bear arms. And then lastly, Gwydion and Lu created a woman made of oak blossom, broom, and meadowsweet, and called her Blodeuwedd, meaning flower face. His mother had intended to deny him all aspects of a traditional masculinity, a name, bearing arms, a wife, and of course the possibility of family from that wife, but in the end Lu was able to gain all 3. This is a peculiar situation, and I scarcely know where to start. I mean, mythology is always a little weird, but this this is a little bit more than what's usual for sure, and it's horribly unfair to everyone involved. Arianrhod did not deserve to be shamed. She was a virgin. She had had no reason to believe that simply stepping over the magical rod was going to alter her condition, much less result in instantaneous conception and spontaneous birth. No reason at all to imagine that would be taking place. And then, of course, her children. They were innocent by definition, and Lulaw gifts certainly bore the brunt of their mother's rejection. He bore no responsibility for the circumstances of his birth, and it was wrong to punish him for something that he could not help. Perhaps the biggest lesson we could take away from all of this is that life is unfair, and sometimes external events affect us for the rest of our lives. We can't control everything that might occur in our lives, but we do have choices about how to respond to it. And making the choice to lash out at an innocent party, especially if we're lashing out at them because we can't punish the responsible person, that's just a wrong thing to do. And it's better to rise to the occasion, have a little dignity, and make the best of our new circumstances. So I think that is the overall the lesson that this particular story is meant to teach. So if you have thoughts, I would love to hear about them either in the comments section below, or you can come see us on Discord at Blackbird's Brew. There's a link to join in the description box below. But that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.